Oh, my heavens, sir! Is this your forest?
It's the king's forest.
You have to understand. I'm not from around here. I'm from the north, and perhaps we do things a little differently. But I'm dreadfully lost. Yeah.
But, and if this looks like it's going very badly, which I think it is, I'm going to try and sneak around and do a fork stab.
You're gonna try to do a fork stab. All right, we're going straight for the fork stabs.
Wow. Do I notice that she's doing that?
Do you notice that? How about you roll me? Let's roll. I'm gonna keep rolling perception, but we're gonna call psych perception here. So
that's great. That's great because I have a bonus in that. So I got 9.
You got 9. So yes, you do notice Emily sneaking up with a fork stab ready to go.
Okay, so I really quickly try to jump into action before she like makes us all go tits up. So I kind of like grab the goon's hand and I'm like, please, sir, won't you help? Won't you help us, a lady in distress?
All right, and Emily, is your plan still going for the fork stab?
I'll see how the guy responds, and if it's negatively, I'll stab him, and if it looks like he's falling for this act, I'll hold off.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you have actually stumbled across 3 gay polyamorous men.
Hell yeah.
Who sideline as goons in their spare time to make board, basically. You know, rent isn't cheap.
But are they gentlemanly gay polyamorous goons?
This one in particular is actually very touch adverse, and so grabbing his hand was probably the worst thing you could have done there. So with a look of utter revulsion, he yanks his hand away from you and raises the club further. And now I'm going to leave time to do actions before this all, as you so charitably put it, goes tits up.
So he's already like lifted me?
He's just jerked your arm away. Like, he's just like, again, touch adverse. So he is not okay with the fact that you just grabbed him without permission.
God,
oh, sweet mercy.
First. God.
What are your guys' plans? Nicole, Emily, Brianna?
Fork stabs.
Fork stabs. All right.
There's 3 of them and 3 of us, right?
4 of us.
Yeah, you're technically outnumbering.
Yeah.
So we see some fork stabs here. Okay, so who's all attempting a fork stab? You are for sure. You are. Let's get a couple body rolls going on here then.
I gave us such bad body stats.
Pray to the dice.
Because we're all geeks.
Dice.
You guys are literally going to tell me what I'm doing. So.
I got a 9.
And
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you say?
You got the highest possible roll you could.
Okay.
Good job.
We don't have
Brianne.
time to
You
say
did
the
it.
full words. So
You
like
did it.
Sorry, guys.
it's all those delays in the stream. We just
So
there's no time to explain.
I'm a DM that believes in the players describing what they do based on their own role. So you said you got a 9?
Yeah.
I'd say that's a decent roll. So describe me how you're not super elegant in doing so, but you get the job done. You're down and dirty. You got the fork in one of them.
Yeah, I'm like trying to get like the back or like the back of the neck, but like I don't quite hit that. I kind of get him in like the arm flesh, and get some pretty good fork prong penetration in there.
Some good damage, right? Okay. And I'm gonna unfortunately have to ask you to do some narrative here for me as well. If you were to take someone out using a dinner fork in the most graceful and beautiful way possible, how would you do it?
I pluck, pop, pluck, pop.
2 eyeballs. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go. Just
Brutal.
gracefully, with a splash of blood and gunk, you rip out those eyes flawlessly.
Thank you for
I
describing
never
it.
knew you were this cutthroat, Brienne. Sorry, Bien.
The shrieks are extremely audible as he puts his hands to his eyes and the gore just leaks out of him. He collapses to his knees. While the man who had his arm stabbed is almost distracted from his own pain because of the sheer violence of the actions just imposed upon him. The third man, who is still in the process of dealing with I've already forgotten your character's name. I'm very bad DM here.
Angina.
Angina. How did I forget
pectoris.
that? Dealing with Angina's horrible breach of consent. He seems utterly and totally lost. Just in shock as one of his lovers is dying on the ground from blood loss. And the other one is looking at this fork sticking out of his arm, sort of in that, like, you know, like in those movies where they have like a knife and they just like sit there for a second. They're like, oh, she doesn't. This is true. They just sort of, I got to start using book metaphors, I guess, but that doesn't really work from a visual standpoint. Fuck. Maybe a video game. Anyways,
There you go.
the sort of shock of having a foreign object sunk into you. You're sort of sitting there in shock. So what's your guys' next action? You have utterly destroyed this group of dumb goons. What is your plan, Nicole? You're coming in.
Yeah,
here.
so I'd like to I'd like to run screaming out of the bush, and because I've like specified that I can freeze head-sized objects, I feel like I want to run towards specifically the guy that had previously interacted with an angina, and I stretch my hand out and I try and freeze his full head.
His full head. Okay, so I need a special roll for that then. I think this is the first time I've ever done this where we've done a special roll.
Okay. So I got a 3.
Okay, was that with 2 d6s?
No, sorry. Excuse me. I didn't realize I got 2 d6s.
Yes,
I got a 9.
You got a 9. Well, that's a lot better than 3. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
Almost.
Okay.
But yes. So, you managed not to quite freeze it solid, but you've done this kind of like two-face thing where you've gotten the one half of his face and it's like severely frostbitten now, like that kind of frostbite where stuff's peeling and cracking like immediately. And now he's on the ground. You have destroyed this group of goons. They are at your mercy.
I hope they were actually guilty of something.
Yeah, right.